Zenless Zone Zero. This is an in-depth look into why it's bad, why it's good, and why some people will likely never get a chance to experience that part. Grab a snack, grab a drink. This is going to be a long one. Also, please keep in mind that this isn't a full review of the game. These are just my impressions after just over a week of play. With that said, let's get it. Vibes for days. If you're looking for me to talk badly about the music, then look elsewhere because I have nothing but good things to say. This is by far the strongest point of the game. Hoyoverse cooked with this one. I mean, they're usually pretty on point when it comes to the music, but this is a very different take. These are beats you could just vibe out to in your room. The music here is very contemporary and modern, which complements the aesthetic and setting of the game. When I first started my download of this game, the music and the retro vibes from the TV was something that immediately grabbed my attention. I was hoping the music would still be that enjoyable once I was finally able to play. They did not disappoint. It's still groovy. This game has a lot of colorful, flashy animations. The way the characters move in the select screens is very stylish and cool. The combat is chalked with over-the-top maneuvers, fluid movement, and particle effects. Reminiscent of Splatoon or Jet Set Radio, this game has a lot of style. And it's great in places, but it's not always appreciated everywhere. Have you ever heard of the phrase, too much of a good thing? The menus are filled with visual clutter. This is Wuthering Waves' inventory screen. This is Honkai Star Rail's inventory screen. This is Genshin Impact's inventory screen. And this is Zenless Zone Zero's inventory. Why are there stars on all the icons? Why aren't the engine icons designed so it's immediately apparent which character they're designed for? What I'm saying is, why are they all balls? Changing them would eliminate the need to have symbols on each one. At the beginning of the game, I found myself attempting to equip weapons only to find that they were actually designed for other characters. Now, take a look at this. This is Genshin Impact's Battle Pass. This is Honkai Star Rail's Battle Pass. This is Wuthering Waves' Battle Pass, and this is Zenless Zone Zero's Battle Pass. See what I mean? There's just so much going on here, and it's the same for so many other menus. There's nothing but numbers, words, kanji, and symbols, and graphics all over the place. As a result, some players feel fatigued just looking at everything. I know I did. It's almost like, why even bother reading anything when there's so much of everything? On top of that, there's menus on menus on menus. There's even a fictional internet forum complete with fictional comments. All of this really dissuades you from reading anything outside of the main story. Getting past the stylistic choices of the menus, the methods of the storytelling are quite entertaining. I absolutely love the comic panel style of storytelling. It's so well done and fitting for the tone of the characters and the world. It's really engaging how the game seamlessly transitions between static comics, cinematics, and in-game graphics. All these various methods of storytelling really add something unique to the game. And I really don't think it would fit many other games unless they had a similar world, similar tone, and similar character design. Basically the same game. This allows for comedic moments to stand out, and it adds a lot of expression to the characters. This might also mask some of the massive amounts of dialogue in this game. The main story that I've played through so far isn't groundbreaking, but the voice acting and dialogue options help it remain somewhat interesting as it progresses. While the visual appeal of the story is nice, the dialogue bloat is quite heavy. And the balance of gameplay and story doesn't seem to be there, especially in the beginning. Speaking of the beginning of the story, it's a very on-the-rails experience. I'll explain. At the start of the game, you're greeted with a comic-styled story. Followed by a cinematic, you're dropped off in the Hollows and allowed to play a mission with a team of 3. Shortly after, you're allowed to play one more mission. Little did I know that this would be the last mission. 4 hours. Almost every autonomous act you attempt to do is met with, "It's not time to do this. It's 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 not time to do this." What happens next is you leave the parking lot, go inside your place of work/home. You have to go to the newsstand and meet a dog, go to a ramen shop and talk to the chef. You see your companion Ambi on the street. You go to the weapons shop and have a lengthy conversation with the staff. She says her boss is grateful to you and gives you a weapon from the boss, to which you give to your friend Ambi. You get a seemingly urgent text from your sibling. Turns out she just wants you to take a picture of the cat. You have to go to the coffee shop. Then you're told it's a long day and you need to go home and rest. After resting, you discuss with your sibling about how to run the store. You have to select movies the store will stock. You get a text message from Billy and you need to go to the arcade to play with him. You come back to the store, then a cat girl named Nekomata bursts in and tells you something happened to your companions. She leaves. A hacker takes over your computer. You have a bit of story development, you play through the TVs, and finally Nekomata returns, and finally then you're given a mission to play through. I might be leaving something out, or switched around a thing or two by mistake, but this is the reason why some may never experience the best this game has to offer. This single-handedly almost killed my experience and desire to continue playing the game, and strongly shaped my opinion. While the list of things that I talked about here seems like it's already a lot, keep in mind that nearly every interaction I just described contains several exchanges of dialogue. This felt like forever. This experience is much different than that of Genshin Impact or Wuthering Waves, where you're immediately given the ability to experience what the game has to offer. I feel like Hoyoverse forgets that story is a means for contextualizing the gameplay to give weight and meaning to your actions and experience. The story itself isn't the gameplay. However, after getting over this hump, the game drastically increases in the autonomy that it gives you, and this is where it actually becomes more entertaining. So far, this doesn't top Wuthering Waves at all. It doesn't even come close to Genshin Impact, and one can only mention Wuthering Waves so many times without thinking about combat. So, let's talk about it. Each character has a role or class they must fulfill: attack, stun, support, defense, and anomaly. The problem is that the roles don't really feel like they matter much in this game, at least so far. For example, when I look at Ben Bigger's skill description, unless I'm understanding it incorrectly, it only seems to benefit himself. He doesn't provide defense for the entire team. So it bears the question, why bring him at all? Nicole is a support character, but I don't feel any more benefit from having her on the team than any attack type character or anyone else. I think the role system is a great way to distinguish characters and works well in most RPGs, but so far it doesn't seem to fit well into this game. Some say the combat is easy, and I don't disagree. But I think that's okay, because I feel that this game is so easygoing and relaxing of an experience, it would seem out of place to have a sweaty grind to get through it. The gameplay seems very arcade-like, and I almost wish they leaned more into that aspect. Imagine random queuing to complete missions and do story in a co-op experience. Or imagine having a multiplayer coin battle, where there are more of those breakable coin boxes and monsters drop coins upon defeat. That casual style of play is more fitting to ZZZ's aesthetic and the demographic that might end up sticking with the game long term. Imagine the TV mode is not a part of the story, but it's a Mario Party styled multiplayer minigame. I really hope they draw upon their strengths instead of trying to make the game something that it isn't. Ultimately, I think the game is fine. Not particularly good, not bad, just fine. The slice of life style gameplay is relaxing, but not casual enough in places. The combat is fast paced and arcade-like, but it could stand to be more arcade-like in my opinion. I feel like Hoyoverse was struggling to carve out an identity for the game. It can't decide if it wants to be hip, upbeat, and intense, or chill, low-key, and casual. The game does get better as you play longer, so I might continue to play for a bit. But I don't know about staying with this one long term. We'll just have to wait and see. Anyways, that is all I have for you today. Please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll catch you on the flip side. And in case you didn't know, that's the side on the other side of this one. Peace.